Hello and welcome to this week's episode of GIANT's Healthy Innovators TV. My name is Barry Shrier and I'm your host. These episodes are brought to you by GIANT Health. GIANT is an acronym. It stands for Global Innovation and New Technology. We're a global community bringing together everybody whose business is healthcare, technology, and innovation. Every week, we're very proud to bring you leaders in the healthcare field, people who are driving innovation and the successful acceleration of new technology innovation. This, of course, includes Michael from Kamet. Hello, Michael. Good morning.
Good morning, Barry. Thank you
Nice
for
to see
having me.
you. Thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
very
joining us. Before we begin, I just want to invite all of our listeners from around the world, if you like these videos, please, if you will like this YouTube episode, and if you subscribe, that helps us to grow the community. We'd also like to thank our sponsors, McKinsey & Partners, our knowledge partner, Barclays Bank International, Vodafone Business, and of course, in particular, we'd like to thank Kamet Ventures, who's been a very passionate and valuable supporter of GIANT Health, and who you'll be able to meet at the GIANT Health event this year, 30th of November, 1st of December in London. So Michael, certainly looking forward to seeing you in person in a few weeks. But to begin with, we'd just like to hear a little bit about you, please. Our listeners love to hear about the successful journeys that people who are leading healthcare and tech and the investment community within healthcare. So tell us, please, Michael, a little bit about your background and how did you get to where you are now?
With pleasure, Barry. So, I started my professional life as an entrepreneur. Many years ago, after
Nice.
school, I created a few companies in a row, specifically around technology at the beginning of, I would say, the big data trend.
Okay.
Those companies were focused on payment security, cryptography, and then I would say data analytics for customer engagement and sales and marketing. Okay, so that was, I would say, the beginning of my career. I then spent many years at the Boston Consulting Group.
Okay, nice.
Where I was a strategy consultant. So I dedicated quite a lot of time working on the insurance sector there and not so much in the health industry.
Okay.
And I supported the opening of of an office in Tel Aviv. And I also was an active member, I would say, of the digital trend within BCG.
Mm-hmm.
And a few years ago, I joined forces with a couple of partners, to co-found Kamet, which is somewhere at the crossroad of business strategy and entrepreneurship. Kamet is a studio where we designed and I would say innovative concepts, where we partner with ambitious entrepreneurs. And where we work jointly with, I would say, corporate or medical partners to bring innovation to market. And we have done that quite successfully a large number of times. I think we put to market 22 to 24 companies. Sorry, not to be sure, because it's a number.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And
we're very keen to hear a lot more about Kamet, absolutely. But just to take a step back very briefly, you said that you began your career as an entrepreneur. Was this a lifetime ambition when you were 12 years old? Did you say, look, the coolest thing I want to do in my life is to become an entrepreneur? How did that come about? I think
I wanted to be a writer when I was 12 years old. And, that was really my dream when I was 12 years old, but many kids at 12 years old have dreams and do something completely different. No. So I must say it was not. No, I was not an entrepreneur because I thought I needed to be an entrepreneur. I am a hands-on guy. I like to do stuff with my own hands. I like to cook. I like to build. I like to take care of my garden, and I like to build companies. So,
nice.
It's. I think it's more. Organically who I am at the core someone who needs to get things done. And I think many entrepreneurs are people who need to get things done.
Yes. Yeah, no, that's a very good point. And I think it's intriguing because, of course, people come from all walks of life into the entrepreneurial, if you will, ecosystem. And very interesting to hear about that. So let's hear more about Kamet. it's a venture builder model. Is that a fair summary phrase?
Yes, yes. Even though it's a very fair summary. The issue being today, words are used. Those words, venture building, is used quite a lot for a variety of concepts. I think some people are a pure provider delivering innovation to clients, etc. At Kamet, what we really do is we are a venture builder, but what we do is develop startups for the sake of developing startups, not really for the sake of bringing, delivering projects to anybody. So we were created, tightly associated with the AXA Group, who financed us, but we are an independent model. We build startups first for the entrepreneur and for the sake of the startup being successful.
There's a lot of different models. Yeah, there's a lot of different models. Often you hear words that are brought together in conversations, business incubators, accelerators, the venture builder model. You have some organizations like EF, Entrepreneurs First. If I understand correctly, their view is start by finding people that show enormous promise and capability and mix them together with others, and then support those groups with their own innovation ideas. Of course, at the other end of the spectrum, you have people who just have an idea and they're promoting their idea, looking for investment, looking for support. Does Kamet have a particular approach here? Is it
Yes.
The support of the leader first, then the idea, or do you say, look, we have for example, we have a theme like digital therapeutics. We want to drive innovation in that part of healthcare.
So we have a few, yes, we have some particularities and we have a clear spin and we have a few beliefs, I must say, by which we operate at Kamet, okay? And the whole structure operates by those beliefs. So I can give you a few. Number one, the idea is important. We think it's very important. Some people say it's only about the people. We don't believe that. We believe the idea is important, and understanding very well, what we're trying to do and what's the purpose of the company we launch and what's our North Star for every business is extremely important. And we think it makes a very big difference in the success rate of those businesses. Number two, the team is important. But what really is important is the adequacy between the team and the project.
Yes.
Because, success, it's a combination of, I would say, proper design, luck, and above all, human desire and energy.
Yes.
It's a journey. In French, we call it an entreprise. It's something people join forces together to make something happen. And that's what entrepreneurship is about.
Sure.
And so you need the right people with the right level of motivation and engagement and desire to change the paradigm. And we pay very specific attention in Kamet to bring together the right team with the right project.
Brilliant.
And number three, which is also one of our particularities, we believe that you can be an entrepreneur that works completely alone outside of the world. And, we heard a lot of the myth of the entrepreneur in his garage. We believe maybe in garages, but, in Europe, there are much less garages than in California. And that's where we operate. So we believe more in the connected kind of garage. Okay, so we like working with partners. We like to accelerate ideas and entrepreneurs by connecting them to the right, I would say, design partners, corporations that can help, experts, etc. And so Kamet is, before being, I would say, a company, it's a network of connections that are managed by people who are affiliated closely or more loosely to Kamet. And so we are able to mobilize corporations, experts, institutions from quite a wide range of skills and capabilities. And I think that helps a lot, specifically in the field where we operate, which are Healthtech and Insurtech. But Healthtech is our by far widest focus. It helps a lot entrepreneurs innovate. I think it's a must.
Yes. Yeah. Excellent. No, that's a very interesting, if you will, framework that you guys have created. Congratulations on that, obviously. So you emphasize that often you're starting with an idea and
Yeah.
the risk is the idea is about an innovation. Is that right? And the risk is that when the idea is implemented, it's not of interest to the marketplace. So
Yeah.
how do you go from idea to successful business, which is satisfying the needs of the marketplace? What's the relationship there, please?
You know, we are not, you know, we start from an idea, but we are not, I would say, creative geniuses. Even
Okay.
though if you want to tell, I won't push back too much, but we are not creative geniuses. You know, that's not what
Yeah.
we are. The reality is we start from a theme. For example, chronic living better with a chronic disease. You know, it's a challenge that many people have to,
Sure.
you know, to do.
Sure.
With a population that's aging, you have more and more people who are chronic, who suffer from a chronic disease, or even more and more people who suffer from polychronicity. Many,
Yeah.
a couple, three, many chronic diseases altogether. And they have to live with it, not days, not weeks, not months, sometimes years. And living with those is a challenge. That's, for example, a theme we are investigating, okay, or we have been investigating.
Okay.
And from there, we look at a very wide range of opportunities. And we engage with corporations, entrepreneurs, academics, to understand what are the real problems that the market need to see solved.
Right.
And that's how we ideate. That's around those problems that we build solutions. So the fact that we will develop solutions that don't find a market when you operate at Kamet, it's very unlikely, because the main risk we eliminate is this one in our process of idea generation.
Nice. Yes. Yeah. Okay. No, that's a helpful clarification. Thanks for that. So, Michael, this is so interesting. What do you see historically in terms of trends in healthcare in Europe over the past 10 years, for example? Do you see a clear pattern which is giving you evidence from the past, which we then can talk about regarding the future?
So listen, you know, I'm not a veteran of health tech. As you see, I've been seriously involved in it for the past 4, 5, 6 years. So I
Right.
will not go back 10 years on the innovations. What I observe in the few years I've been working in the field is that you really have different trends that are being addressed by innovators. You have a trends around what I would call the medtech, the core medical, either devices or drugs. This is an area I don't know very much, and I won't speak too much about it. And there is another more emerging trend, and you have more and more money being poured into those days, which is around, I would say, what we call the health tech, which is more about expanding the range of possibilities,
Right.
leveraging the science that exists and delivering it to the patients that need it. And I think there is still a lot to be done. And if you ask me why I am working on this field, it's not because I think there is a huge untapped economic potential. It's because I believe that there is a huge social benefit and I would say even human benefit to shifting the paradigm from treating disease to protecting people.
Yes.
First, going through, you know, probably treating patients,
Yes, exactly.
but ultimately towards protecting people.
Yes.
And it's not that I believe, you know, in all this transhumanism that we will live forever. I actually don't really believe in that today. Maybe I'm not. But I think that there is a lot of power of the medical science that is not really delivered anymore to the patients, because there is it's very difficult to put the right level of medical science and capabilities around each specific individual. And I suspect that bringing multi-specialty at scale is something technology can do. And I suspect it's our human duty to try to make it happen. And that's why I'm involved in this. And I think on this field, there are tons of opportunities ahead of us. There are opportunities in improving, I would say, the access to medical services. There is opportunity in improving, I would say, the data centricity around the patient, so that the doctors can grasp the situation of a given patient faster. There are opportunities around automation of the tasks that are repeatable,
Yes.
and for which you don't need a human brain to be involved in petty analysis.
Sure.
There is, I think, also a huge opportunity to collect new form of information and inform decision-making process with information that have never been looked at. I mean, people speak about them in general as a diffuse knowledge. Remember the old doctor saying, when I look at a patient from the color of his skin, I can, okay, maybe some doctors are better at that than others, but
yes,
what's for sure is that nobody is collecting, the color of the skin of the same individual across his life. And if we were able to collect better the data, even the informal data around healthcare, we definitely will be able to inform the medical process differently. And last, I suspect that creating more, I will make a parallel, me, in the way I work, I never made a difference between my personal life and my professional life. That's probably something you will find a lot of entrepreneurs telling you, that the line is very blurred.
Yes.
Because your source of inspiration in your professional life is your personal life, and vice versa.
Yes.
And I think it's the same with healthcare. We are making a clear cut between I'm going to the doctor and I'm taking care of myself and all the rest. And I think it needs, if we want really healthcare to deliver superior outcome, we will need to blur this line between seeing a doctor and taking care of our health and the rest of the time. And
that's a very good point.
Connecting, I would say, patients with healthcare in a more continuous basis is something that's not easy to achieve, and I'm pretty sure that technology can help a lot. Along those lines, there are an infinite number of innovations that are still to be brought to the market, I suspect.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. In that respect, the opportunities are absolutely vast, aren't they? But it's a very good point, and this is a recurring theme, which I'm glad to hear. I'm glad to hear about from you. The fact that obviously historically the development of healthcare as we know it now, in fact, is providing sick care. You call your doctor when you're unwell. The origin and the service that hospitals provide is fundamentally for acute conditions. And yet what we have, as you know fully, is substantial growth in chronic conditions. And we also have a healthcare system, which, in my opinion, is unbelievably noble and beautiful and attractive, but at the same time, it's not scalable. And it's not able to deliver unlimited, infinite quantities of sick care delivery services. So the onus is on people to look after their health in the future, isn't it? Rather than to live unhealthy lives and then call the doctor.
But Barry, may I be allowed to disagree slightly with you when you say that our healthcare system is noble? I mean, it depends on what aspects. I mean, I would say that the people who work in the healthcare system, they are noble, but the system itself, like every system, has no nobility. It's a system and it has flaws like every system. There are incentives that are embedded in the system that are economic incentives. And while the system is designed to improve the healthcare of the population, and which I think is a normal outcome for an institution, I'm not so sure that it's designed to optimize individual outcomes. I'm sure that every doctor wants to optimize individual outcome, but the system itself is not designed for that.
Yes, no, that's a good point, and that's a challenge for society, isn't it?
It is definitely.
Coming back to Kamet, could you give us some examples of some of the businesses that you guys are working on? We'd love to hear a little more detail. And you mentioned that you guys have supported over 20 companies already, which is an impressive number. So if you don't mind sharing some examples.
Yes, I'd be very happy to share a few examples of the company we have supported or originated, etc., etc. And I'll focus on a few healthcare one. So there is one company that has been recently purchased by Health Hero, which is a French health tech called Care, which is a telemedicine service, a virtual multi-specialty clinic that delivers video consultation and physical consultations for GP and all specialties, giving, I would say, a different way for people to access healthcare with a very, I would say, empathetic approach, focused on delivering high quality care and collecting, I would say, medical data so that the doctors can provide continuous care to the patients, and not, I
Okay.
would say, a single interaction and then forget about their patient. So that's one example. And this company joined the Health Hero group recently, and is, I believe, one of the leaders of the telemedicine field in France. Another example of so you see, we developed it to try to improve, I would say, access. Another example of a company that we have originated is a company. I'll take a completely different example called Ibex.
Ibex.
Ibex, yes,
Okay.
which has been invested by 83 North recently, and Octopus,
Nice.
and which has developed, I would say, a software that support pathologists in their analysis of the biopsies. That automates, as I said, many of the petty tasks, identifying every cell in a biopsy, and supporting the calculation of scores that can determine whether people suffer from cancer, inflammation, or whatever other disease. So,
nice.
See, visual analysis, AI, it's more a deep tech company. The other one is more a business model innovation, and I would say a lighter tech company. So we really cover the range. I can give you a few other examples of much earlier stage company that are still, I would say, within Kamet. We have a company that we launched in Israel called Cardiocall.
Okay.
That is analyzing the voice to detect atrial fibrillation and more CVDs in general.
Oh, very interesting.
So they have already an algorithm that works pretty well in detecting, I would say, cardiovascular disease through voice analysis.
With these businesses, are you investing cash in them, and are you taking an equity stake? And is there a lot of variability and flexibility in that model?
So we do both. You see, we invest sweet at the very beginning of the business, because we very often are the designer of the business, and we put the team together. So a lot of this initial effort is sweet. But yes, once the company is sufficiently advanced, we invest cash and we take equity stakes that are substantial minority, but substantial minority stakes in the company that we launch.
Yeah, yeah. And then how do you support them? Because there's quite a wide variety of models here, aren't there? Do you feel like you can profoundly change their success, their prospects for success by supporting them along the lines of, I guess, A16Z in California?
So listen, we believe we can substantially change their success by supporting them, but our, I would say, major impact is in the early days of the company.
Okay.
Okay. So, and we recognize that after a while, when the company receives quite a lot of money, starts to have a very wide management teams, etc., maybe others are more adapted than us to support the company, etc.
Yes.
Well, and that we don't have the scale of an organization to support 20 companies of this size. Okay, so
sure. Yeah, yeah.
But on what we do is we stay active quite a long time with the companies that we built. We are still sitting in most of the boards of our companies, even the one that are Series Bs or Series C.
Oh, nice.
Okay, just because the quality of the work we do upfront in understanding the ecosystem in which they operate, in connecting also with a wider set of provider partners, etc., gives us a very specific insight in the various pivot that the company needs to take along its life. And I think investors that joined us recognize that we are not at all passive at these boards, but we are very active supporters of the company.
Yeah.
The second element is we were the co-founder together with the founders. And so our intimacy with the team is very, very substantial.
Nice.
And so it helps also to understand much better the dynamic that occur within the company. And so for quite a long period of time, I think we are seen as a valuable, at least coaches and supporters of the management team of the company.
Yeah. Excellent. I think there's an endless need for that level of support, which the earliest stages of business require. So it's excellent to hear about your model there, and very impressive, Michael, honestly. What about the future? Do you does Kamet say, look, this is what society needs, we're going to help deliver it? Does Kamet say this is a problem, we're going to tackle that by way of the work we do with our businesses?
So there are future number one for us is we have a substantial portfolio of companies that we intend to continue to support and grow, and
Brilliant.
And that's already quite a lot of work. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so and this one, yes, we believe we developed and we designed very, very good companies. I think our success rate in fundraising is showing that it is probably the case. Even though the market is quite it's quite geared positively those days.
Yes.
But I think also the success in the key metrics of our company demonstrates that we have a good quality portfolio, and so we intend to continue to support them and provide capital when needed and connect them with the right investors, partners, clients, etc., etc. So that's already one stream of work. The second is we believe that the model like Kamet have a role to play in entrepreneurship. I think, and specifically in sectors like healthcare or insurtech where we are active, we believe that there is a very strong need for platforms like ours that help entrepreneurs, enter into fields that are not so intuitive as e-commerce or software for businesses. Okay, I think it's much more difficult to understand, the subtleties of the payers' incentives in various European markets.
Yes.
Than it is to understand, the appetite for individuals to buy, I don't know, a specific type of products.
A specific solution. Yeah. No, that's a good point. I certainly agree with you there. Do you see the market evolving over the next 5 or 10 years? Do you feel that there'll be more consolidation or
in Healthtech, you mean, or in
Healthtech market in Europe? From your financial perspective, are you expecting a lot more innovation and fragmentation or certain consolidations occurring?
Listen, I would say from the Healthtech themselves, you have fields that are starting to mature. All the Healthtech focusing on improving health access, being telemedicine, appointment taking, new surgery or practice management systems, etc. I suspect are going to consolidate, and so we will probably see PEs taking over VCs in some of those fields in the coming years. That's what I expect, at least.
Yes.
On the money providing, I'm not sure exactly. I mean, on the VC side, I'm not sure exactly how it's going to happen, but I believe that in Healthtech, there is a huge opportunity for a model like Kamet. Working with corporations, working with the medical providers, partnering with some of them and supporting entrepreneurs in the design of their innovations. I think there is a huge opportunity because for people to invest without this kind of I would say innovate without this kind of support in those fields is extremely difficult. I also suspect that there will be more and more money coming, even though I'm not sure exactly how I would say compared to other fields, it's very clear that for Healthtech to be successful, they need more time and more money than the previous wave of innovations around travel or retail, etc., etc.
That's a very good point. Healthcare is tricky.
Yes, and but I suspect also that the return can be much bigger than people expect. And so far, Healthtech companies have not yet delivered this kind of growth and top line pattern because it takes a long time to get their solutions adopted and recognized by the scientific community and and NHSs of the world. But going forward, I would expect that it will happen.
Yes. No, interesting to hear that. Thank you for sharing. We're going to wrap up now, if that's okay, Michael, but this has been an incredibly interesting and informative conversation. I personally am actually very impressed with what Kamet has accomplished, and also love to hear about your personal entrepreneurial journey and the overlap between that and working with global management consultancy and so forth. what would you like to share in terms of final messages to entrepreneurs, people that are running businesses, or maybe people, for example, who are working as clinicians or outside of healthcare and they're wondering about opportunities to come into launching businesses, getting involved in innovation? Do you have some advice you'd like to share?
Yeah, listen, I think being an innovator, being an entrepreneur is something extremely tough and extremely rewarding. Okay, so what I have to say is, if you want to be successful, dare, to try things, and dare, but also connect with people.
Yes.
Get the support you need so that this risk that you're taking, you're not taking it alone, but you're taking it in an environment where you appreciate, your day-to-day, the teams with who you work, and the
Yes.
support that you get. I think it's extremely important to find the right environment to,
Yes.
to take on these kind of journeys.
That's a very good point. Yeah, I guess the risk is that you are isolated with your idea or your ambition, and that you don't necessarily find enough people to support and to
And
collaborate.
remember, healthcare is about care, and care is about people. And if you want, to deal with people, it's not by being only a developer that you'll do it. It requires a lot of exposure to the actual people that are going to deliver your solutions.
Yeah, very good point. Well, look, Michael, thank you so much for sharing these ideas. And obviously,
Thank you, Barry.
we're grateful to the support from Kamet to sponsoring Giant Health. Certainly look forward to seeing you in a few weeks' time in London. And on behalf of all of our listeners around the world, we certainly invite everybody to come to the Giant Health event this year and to meet Michael in person and to learn about Kamet and to learn about some of the businesses that Kamet has been supporting. So as a reminder to all of our listeners, please go to our website, www.giant.health, where you can get tickets to come to the Giant Health event. Michael, thank you very much. This has been an incredibly interesting conversation, and we also are grateful for your time and the important and interesting ideas and information that you shared with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Barry.
Okay, all the best. Thank you, everybody. Best wishes. Bye-bye.